Never mail casual emails when you're pitching to the investors over emails. Hi, this is Priyanka Mandani and I'm founder of Easy to Pitch, here today to tell you about how to pitch on emails when you're sending your first draft to the investors. The very common mistakes the founders that usually make when they're emailing to the investors are the lengthy introduction. If you're mailing to the investors and the introduction is so lengthy, they don't have that much time to look across what you're sending about your startup story. Number two, the relevant pitching is really important when you're pitching to the investors. And if I say about relevant pitching, it's about, are you doing your homework before sending emails to the investor, that is he the right one to send the startup story that you want to pitch. Number three, when you send emails, you are so aggressive about your pitching and you're so excited that you talk more of your industry and your competitors. These aggressive emails definitely don't bring attention from the investors. So talk less about your competitors. Now let's talk about what are the things that we should keep in mind when you're drafting your email to the investors. Number one, whenever you're drafting your email, you should before that do your research work. Supposedly, if I'm an idea stage startup, I will definitely send across the email to the investors who are dealing with the idea stage rather than sending to the investors who are into series stage. So you need to really work on your research part when you're drafting the mail before sending to the investors, because that will save your time and even the rejection. Number two, a very important highlighting part of your email has to be the subject line. Whenever we are doing a sales email or any pitching email, the customer or the investor will get attracted to that subject line. So you have to work in the subject line where you are just drafting one liner about your startup story. Also ensure that even if you can put a brief about your startup so that every investor who is looking to your email can open it and read whatever you have mailed them. Number three, please when you're introducing about your startup, be very concise, be very limited. And if I say about very limited, please draft your email in 2 to 3 lines when it is about the introduction. Do not go over it. So these are the very important points to start with when you're drafting the email. The very next important point is, whenever you talk about your startup, you have to speak about what value addition you are making in the ecosystem. The problem that you're solving. The problem that you're solving has to be that exaggerated and that impactful that they are interested in listening to your solution then, how you're solving it. So next, after the introduction, what problem you're solving has to be mentioned and focused and clear. Now, as we have covered the introduction part, the subject line, how you start the mail, what you should start with after introduction, let's talk about what is the market that you're targeting. When I talk about the market, right, the market size, even the traction that you have brought up, these are the things that add value, to tell how far you have been in your startup journey. Of course, the solution that you have brought up, you must have got it validated, right? So you talk about that validation. And again, if I say that we have to be very crisp and clear, please do not exceed this more than 3 to 4 lines. Now, when you've spoken about your traction, your market size, the industry that you're from, the next important thing is your credentials, the worth you are bringing in the market. And to make them understand that what is your worth, is it either the team expertise, or is it about the market that you are well aware of, or the product which has been validated from that marketplace. So when we talk about your worth or your credential, you tell the investors that what you have done so far as an expertise and what you're going to do next. Now, our goal when we are pitching to the investors is not to provide all the details of your startup, but some things which can attract the investor. When we talk about goals to be achieved, we talk about our vision. We talk about the revenue that we are going to make. So please provide in a liner or 2 liner that what is your business model when you're attracting them towards your solution. Now in the end, not last but not the least, we need to tell them how, in a very simplified way, that how we are bringing impact in the ecosystem. And for that, please avoid using the very complex vocabulary or jargons that can confuse any investor, because they have to be very clear what your focus is, what is the industry, what is the traction, what problem you're solving. These are the typical things that you pitch along, right? So never use big huge jargons when you're pitching over the email. And in the end, once the email is finished, do not forget to attach your pitch deck, because if you want them to ask more of you or ask about more of your story, your pitch deck is really important. Now if I talk about the real hack, many a times founders forget to talk about the next plan of action. I'm sure in the email when you're making, you also might have missed asking about a next opportunity or a meeting where you can discuss more. So never forget to write that, please let me know the good time to have a call with you so that we can interact more and discuss more on it. And ensure that you're putting a timeline to it. It can be in the next coming week, it could be a next coming working day, or it can be in the next month. But please ensure that you're putting a timeline and a call for ask. Thank you.